I don't like that you're here, said Koré. She was looking at the Welton Company headquarters as she spoke. You're going to be distracted. I wasn't going to let Cindy go in there alone. Audra was standing next to Koré. She was wearing a short red dress. Cindy was next to her in a long black dress. Audra shifted hers down a bit. I wish the dress code wasn't so formal. At least you get to wear what you always wear. Koré finally looked in Audra's direction, but it wasn't Audra she locked eyes with. Tor was standing beside the two girls. A stern expression didn't leave his face in the days leading up to the fundraiser. If you get any clues on Saji's whereabouts, you tell me as soon as you can. Keep these two safe no matter what. I won't let anything happen to them, said Tor. His eyes were fixated on the Welton Company's HQ. I have to go meet Trey and Captain Fair now. Keep in touch. Koré left them and looked back to make sure they were making their way inside. As she made her way past an alleyway on the streets in Meldgarden, she heard a whisper. Hey, Kor, said the voice. At first, Koré couldn't make out who it was since it was nighttime, but as the person emerged from the alley, she saw it was Konda. A few days had gone by since the last fundraiser. Last Koré knew, Konda was partnered with Saji, and then Saji was captured. Konda was assaulted, obviously, but the guard covered up what happened and told Koré that Konda had just taken a few days off. Koré rushed over to Konda and hugged her tightly. She held her hands as they separated. Why didn't you answer any of my calls? Where's your uniform? I had to speak with you before you go in there. Something isn't right. Saji and I were assaulted by River. That's how she got caught. Konda's eyes welled with tears. I couldn't do anything against her. She was too strong. I'm sorry. Konda, don't. It's not your fault. Koré brushed away one of Konda's tears. We're going to get Saji back and then shut down the Weltons. Koré looked around and noticed a clothing store nearby. Hope you brought money. I need you inside. I didn't get an invite. Captain Fair will out me anyway, said Konda. They'll remove me from the fundraiser. That's a risk we have to take. Go get something nice to wear. Koré pointed at the store she saw. A few moments later, Konda walked up to Tor, Audra, and Cindy, who were waiting to be let in. She stood next to Tor. Koré said, I'm your +1. Tor nodded to her. Is Koré in position yet? She told me to join you and then went to go meet with Captain Fair and Trey. She wanted extra backup, but there is a reason I'm not in uniform. As Konda explained her situation to the others, Koré entered the building from a side entrance. Trey was waiting for her. Everything all right out there? He asked. Yeah, just wanted to check more of the perimeter. Everything looks normal, said Koré. Trey just stared at Koré, trying to get a read on her. You gonna be okay in there? I'll be fine once we get Saji back, eyes and ears open. Koré walked further in and Trey followed. Any word from Captain Fair yet? He was looking for you specifically, said Trey. Told me to tell you to meet him in the main lobby. Everyone is getting posts, but since you're a detective, not an officer, he wasn't really sure where to put you. He hired you to be my bodyguard, right? Safe to assume I'm going where you're going. Koré stepped out into the main lobby and saw Captain Fair in the middle of it giving directions to other guard officers. I'm hoping he kept us together. I'll need you to help me investigate. Detective! Captain Fair waved her over. Koré was surprised to see Lucy in a white dress standing next to him. Despite the nice attire, Lucy still had a device in her ear with a wire running down the back of her dress. You're going to be with me. Not Trey? Koré looked up at Trey, then back at Captain Fair. Shouldn't I be with my partner? Given your situation, we're all your partners tonight, not just Trey. We have no idea what the Weltons have planned for you. I made sure everyone is on high alert. Captain Fair signaled to an officer and pointed him in another direction. Trey watched as Captain Fair directed traffic. And me, sir? Lucy has my eyes and ears while we're on security. We have to stay on the outside and only get involved if things look suspicious. I need someone in the mix of things. Captain Fair looked at Lucy, who smiled. That means she needs protection also in the mix of things. Sir, Lucy, take Trey to get changed into something more appropriate. We took your measurements from your record and got you a suit. Hope that's okay. This time it was Trey looking at Koré with concern. Whatever you need, sir. Follow me, elite officer. Lucy continued to smile as she led Trey away from Captain Fair and Koré. Koré could see Tor, Audra, and Cindy entering with the other guests. I guess that's our sign to get off the main floor. Yeah, follow me. Koré followed Captain Fair into another room where the fundraiser was actually going to take place. It was a large room with many tables set up and 2 different bars. There were spiral staircases that led up to more areas with tables. Some music was playing and there were numerous Welton Company employees at the ready to assist the guests. Fancy, Koré said. Any sign of Mr. Welton or the others yet? Not yet. I'm sure they will be here. Captain Fair made his way up one of the spiral staircases and Koré followed him up. They looked over at the main floor and watched the other guests enter. I know the Welton Company has always been a sore subject for you. I need your word you're not going to do anything stupid. How long ago do you think I cracked this case? What case? Said Captain Fair. The fact that you gave Trey babysitting Lucy duties just so you could pull me to the side to have this conversation. Koré walked away from Captain Fair. Probably the moment I waved you over, Captain Fair caught up to her. You need to be careful here, Koré. I'm not just telling you as your boss. Koré stopped in front of an elevator across from where they were originally standing. I'm going up to investigate. You can either come with me to protect me or stay here. Your call. You're doing this already? Koré, don't make me have our officers detain you for your own safety. Captain Fair looked to check where the closest guard officer was, but Koré pressed the button for the elevator and got on before he turned back. He rushed inside with her. I scoped the area before you said anything, Koré said as the elevator door closed. You had two guards on this upper level and they were both on the other side. Not sure I would have been protected much. You always have to make things difficult. Could have held the door and kept me down there, said Koré. How high up do you think Mr. Walton is anyway? This is high enough, I think. Captain Fair hit a button and stopped them on the 32nd floor. We're only checking here then going back down, understand? Sure. Koré nodded innocently. She knew Captain Fair must have known she wouldn't listen. I'll take the first few rooms, you check the back. Captain Fair entered the first room to his left. Koré made her way down a long hallway. She checked in a few rooms as she went, but the lights were off. Down near the end of the hallway, she saw some lights on. She could hear people talking like a second party was happening up where she was. She turned around to get Captain Fair, but saw the elevator door closing with Captain Fair inside. Koré rushed over to the elevator, but the doors closed before she got there. She pressed the buttons to bring the elevator back, but none of the buttons reacted to her presses like they were working. Did he trap me up here? Koré turned around, and now the hallway felt more intimidating to her as she walked slowly toward the lit-up room. Her phone vibrated as she walked. What is it, Lucy? Hey, is Captain Fair with you? I think he just abandoned me. Check the main lobby's elevator. Koré pulled out the gun from the back of her pants and approached the room slowly. Why were you two on the elevator? Never mind. Hey, did you know that Trey... Lucy was speaking fast, but Koré's phone lost service as she got close to the room. Trey what? Koré whispered, now just a few feet from the room. She peeked inside and saw people enjoying drinks and mingling. She put her phone and gun away before walking in. She immediately noticed that there were no Welton Company employees here, besides one behind a nearby bar. The rest of the people in the room appeared to be some of the rich residents of Novessa, which is probably why they had their own private party. The room was actually much nicer than the one downstairs, with glass tables, more furniture, and a large balcony that could look out into Mill Garden. None of them acknowledged Koré's presence in the room. They must think I'm just here for security purposes, Koré thought to herself. She made her way over to the bar and made her way to the back end of it. She tried to wave down the bartender, but noticed he was cleaning a glass and not serving anyone. She could see a small yellow button under the counter in front of him. As she looked out from where the bartender was standing, she noticed that everyone else stopped talking to each other, and most had put their drinks down. I guess you all noticed I wasn't invited to this private party. Koré made her way out from the back end of the bar and put her hands up. I didn't mean to impose. Actually, one of the men by the bar turned around. It was Anvil. Koré couldn't tell it was him because of the other people around him. Rookie mistake. You're right where you're supposed to be. A woman next to the bar grabbed a bottle and swung at Koré. She put her forearm up to block it, but the bottle shattered over her. The same woman followed up with a kick, but Koré backed away and grabbed the woman's ankle. She pulled her off balance and struck her in the chest, knocking her to the ground. One of the men at the bar attacked her next, but Koré elbowed him in the groin, pulled her fist up to hit him in the chest, and used her shoulder to push him into the bar. The next assailant led with a punch, but Koré was ready and used the man's own momentum to flip him over her shoulder. As Koré spun around, she removed her gun yet again and shot down 5 more people in the room, leaving just her and Anvil. She shot at him, but he purposely moved so the metal plate on his cheek blocked the bullet. A risky move that left Koré both impressed and in a panic. She pulled the trigger on her gun again, but just heard a click. She thought about trying to reload, but Anvil was already too close. He pushed her hand down and disarmed her as he grabbed her by the throat. He started to lift Koré off the ground, but the cunning detective leapt up and wrapped her legs around his throat. When practicing with Conda, she learned to use this move to force her opponent to the ground and choke them out. Koré quickly learned it was a lot easier in practice, and maybe Conda's smaller frame was easier to take down than the large Anvil. She wrapped her legs around him, but he remained standing and would not budge. He lifted Koré high into the air and slammed her down on a nearby glass table. Koré felt some pieces of glass go through her suit and cut her back as she winced and groaned in pain. Koré rolled over and tried to get back up, but Anvil grabbed one of the bar stools and swung it into Koré's stomach. Anvil fixed the cuffs of his suit. Mr. Welton assumed he would need Raisha or Jagger to deal with you. Tried to tell him he was giving you too much credit. Koré crawled away from Anvil, trying to get close to the wall to help her get back on her feet. I personally don't get why he's so concerned with you. You're nothing. Anvil stepped over the remains of the glass table as he approached her. Compared to him, your existence is insignificant. You and your friends will die here, while Mr. Welton will go on to become a god. Anvil picked Koré up by her shoulders and slammed her into the wall she intended to use to help her. Koré tried her best to make sure her head didn't hit the wall, but he just kept hitting her against it. He stopped and grabbed Koré just under her chin, his long fingers helping him palm her throat and cheeks. Thinking that you could stop Mr. Welton and all he has achieved, how pathetic. The silence that followed as he hesitated to speak again was accompanied by a slight dripping sound. Koré could see the confusion on his face as he looked down at her hand. Tiny drops of blood dripped out from her hand as she was holding a piece of the glass table. Koré drove the shard of glass into Anvil's shoulder, then grabbed him by the tie and pulled back as she dropped to the floor. The impact smashed Anvil's head into the wall, and she continued to repeat the motion, slamming his head into the wall with each pull. Anvil tried to pull away, but Koré just held on to the piece of glass to stay in contact. She went to slam again, but Anvil regained his grasp on her shoulders and rolled her around the wall to slam her again. However, as Anvil's back touched the wall, Koré brought her foot up onto his chest and pushed off of him, breaking his hold on her. Anvil moved forward with speed, but Koré brought her foot up and connected with the side of his head that didn't have the metal plate. The impact was fast, and the motion brought both of them to the ground. Koré looked at Anvil and saw he was unconscious. She was breathing heavily. Where she landed, she saw the balcony overseeing Meldegarden right in front of her. She crawled toward it in hopes that being outside might help her breathe better and gather herself. As she crawled outside, the patter of raindrops started to surround her. She pushed herself up and leaned shoulder first against the pillar of the large balcony. She closed her eyes and took deep breaths until she heard some clapping. Consider me impressed, Detective. River was standing on the balcony. I didn't think you would last long enough for me to kill you.